For a long time I decided I wanted to work in a zoo one day, to be a director of a zoo, and sort of followed that path for quite a long time. I worked at 4 different zoos in different parts of the world, and then one day it just kind of hit me. You know, zoos are great for what they do, but they're just preserving a few baubles on Christmas trees. Whole ecosystems are being destroyed. And I remember quite well one night, it was about 11 o'clock at night, I phoned up my professor at home. He was almost asleep, and I said, I've just realized I can't be a zoo biologist, I have to be an ecologist because it's all about habitat destruction. In terms of where I work, I'm mostly a tropical guy. And I actually remember quite well when I decided to work in the tropics, and remember my father with quite a lot of concern saying, you know, why would you want to go off and work in tropical places? That seems like a very far away place. But I just was hearing so much back in the early 1980s about how fast tropical forests were being destroyed, how much biodiversity was depending on tropical forests, and it just seemed like a kind of environmental holocaust, and just too compelling an issue not to get interested in. Well, we've been involved in a few environmental dust-ups over the years, and I suppose one of the ones that we've been really engaged in quite a while is the $40 billion avalanche of new highways and roads and other infrastructure that's happening in the Amazon right now. The government there is just completely changing the Amazon by crisscrossing the basin right into the heart of the basin, the last remaining pristine parts of the basin, with all these new projects. Now, you've got to have economic development, and no one can fault a nation like Brazil for wanting to develop economically. But there's destructive development, and there's more sustainable kinds of development. And so our whole mission has been about trying to talk about what are the real costs going to be in terms of forests, in terms of carbon emissions from all the forest destruction, in terms of cost to biodiversity, of one kind of model of development versus another kind of development. And that's one of the messages that we talk about. It's not about anti-development, it's about pro-smart development. On a personal level, I suppose one of my take-home messages is, and I say to other scientists, we have been trained, we've been brought up being told, you're a scientist and you cannot dirty your hands. You can't get involved in a lot of real-world conservation issues because somehow that makes you less than pure scientifically. And I actually really take exception to that point of view. I think not only do we have a right, we actually have a responsibility. We're the people out there working with a lot of these environmental systems. We're seeing the impact of what's going on. Of course, we have to be absolutely factual and have integrity scientifically, but we've also got a responsibility to try to convey those messages, to try to convey that information to people out there, for decision makers, for the general public. So I think for me, that's something I feel quite passionately about. And sometimes people say, well, you know, you're a scientist, should you be, debating politicians? And I say, heck yeah, I think I should, and I'd just like to be doing it a little bit more. Unfortunately, right now, we really are consuming the capital. We're out attacking the world's last remaining frontiers. There's huge timber booms, mineral booms, other kinds of things happening, and it's kind of shocking. It's kind of rapacious to work in rapacious what's happening, and to see what's happening in a lot of these frontier areas. You go out and you think like, wow, this is something out of a kind of a frightening documentary. This stuff really is going on. So right now I feel a little bit, maybe to tie this into a Dutch analogy, I feel a little bit like we've got our fingers in the dike and we're just trying to keep things under control for maybe the next 50 to 100 years, and then hopefully gradually things will stabilize. I think human numbers will come down, and eventually I think we're moving towards a more sustainable model, but we've got a ways to go. We've got a lot of challenges ahead.